Okay, here I'm going to the small puddles that are left after the water slide is sat out in the sun. There's just a few puddles of water left, and I'm going to dry those with a towel. Because you really want the water slide as dry as possible when you fold it, because it's easier to transport. You don't want it to leak in your car. It's lighter, and it's less messy. You know, you got to pick up a big water slide and move it around. You don't really want water that's sat on it all day, all over your clothes. So just a few reasons, and it'll mildew. You know, they'll mildew if they're wet. Over on that side that tends to pool up water right there on this particular slide. Depends kind of on how you set it in your yard, where the water will pool up. Usually there's not much water on the top where you climb up to. So. Before I disconnect and deflate the water slide, I usually throw the water hose connection up into the middle of it. Release the Velcro strap, pull it off the blower, and then kind of push it in the direction you want it to deflate, and you're done. I'm talking very animated here, which is pretty funny. I don't know what I'm saying. Probably what I'm telling you now. So one of the mistakes that you make when you are trying to fold this up is to try and push this flat, which you'll end up just wrestling with it because of the unusual shape of a water slide or a bounce house or whatever the unit is. It will kind of fight with you, and the air will just go in the path of least resistance instead of towards the exit ports. So you just kind of let it rest. Usually drag it to a drier spot in the sun so it can dry for about 30 to 45 minutes. It really can take less than that. It doesn't have to take very long. You'll see here where I just drag it up my hill into the sunlight, and I let it sit there for 15, 20, 30 minutes. I had it really dry at this point, so it didn't take very long for it to dry. If it were wet and you couldn't towel dry it because it was so wet, then you definitely want to leave it set in the sun for a little longer. So just kind of be mindful of that, and then you'll see me kind of manipulate how it's leaning. What I'm doing is pulling it so that the air ports that you see there, the long one and the short one, are able to allow air to escape. Pull that, open it up, so that the air can make its way out, and just set it and forget it for a little while. Stretch it as flat as you can, blanket.
Set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
And then when you come back to it in 15 minutes or so, it will be flat like this. And then the way it's folded in the package, which is usually the best way to fold it, is you fold the ends. So the climbing side inward, and then the slide side inward on this particular slide. What's most important about folding is that you make sure you're folding towards where the air escapes, and you start from the farthest point away from it. So you'll notice that corner that I'm at there is about as far away as you can get from the air exit ports. Violet is really helpful most of the time, and she will jump right there in the middle and help me fold it. But today she's enjoying running around. She's fun to watch. So once I turn this into sort of like a long, almost sleeping bag shape, I let it relax for a little bit longer so that it can just kind of, so that air starts to relax out and escape. So at this point I walked away and then came back, and it was flat, as you can see. And then it's a matter of just kind of rolling it towards the exit, the air exit ports. And you'll notice that I don't go really fast and like force it. Patience is the key here. Do a roll, kind of push it down, let it flatten on its own, and just keep going bit by bit. There's a moment where I show you that if you push on it fast, what'll happen is the air will go in every direction, and it'll start to sort of re-inflate the part you've flattened, which is why you move slowly with these. Here and there, if I push on that, it's just going to go backwards. That's what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, I don't have a mic on me in this scene. I was just talking, and audio doesn't pick up very well on an iPhone like that, I would say. Anyway, so slowly roll this thing until it's pretty much rolled as far as it will go. You've pushed the air out slowly. And once you do that and finish up, I'm going to show you the best way to get it into the bag. The bag on this particular water slide, this brand in general, they give you a pretty cheap bag that tends to tear easily. But even a torn bag is better than no bag. It's easier to carry than have a bag. Hold it in place. Otherwise, you lift this thing up like this, and it's just going to go all over the place. It's almost like liquid, like trying to hold liquid. So I'm going to show you how to put this into the bag easily. Make sure your bag's close to where you're working. You're going to kind of slide it up under where you're working. In this case, the water slide needs to be folded one more time, and then think of the side as kind of a roll, like when you roll a sleeping bag, and then I pull the bag over the roll to kind of hold the water slide together. And then once that's on there, on that side, then you flip the water slide onto the bag so it holds the bag in place, and you just continue to kind of push the water slide into the bag and pull the sides up, and you're pretty much done. You'd be surprised how fast it goes doing it this way versus if you have ever tried to do this another way. What may not translate very well in the video is that I'm not really working very hard. I mean, I'm as little effort as it takes by using this method. You don't want to wrestle it. You just want to let it do its thing. I use my legs to kind of squeeze everything together and Velcro the bag together. And with it nice and dry, it is definitely more portable. But on a lawn, you can slide these. They'll slide fine on, but I wouldn't necessarily do that across concrete or asphalt or rock, because you'll rip the back up